Hello, my name is Cameron Jackman. I've chosen Montreal, Canada for my MLB Expansion Proposal. Presentation outline. I will discuss population base, competition, business climate, TV and digital rights, facilities, transportation, and to wrap up, special consideration. Now we'll talk about population base. Montreal is the second largest city in Canada. It is the ninth largest city in North America with an estimated population of 1.75 million people in 2016. Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada, is the fourth largest city and has an estimated population of 895,000 people in 2014. I chose Ottawa because it doesn't currently have an MLB team, and it's about a 2-hour commute from Ottawa to Montreal. It's a closer commute from Ottawa to Montreal than it is from Ottawa to Toronto. This would mean fans from Ottawa would most likely commute to Montreal to see a game and not to Toronto. Quebec City is another city that's near Montreal, has an estimated population of 531,000 people in 2017. The commute from Quebec City to Montreal is about a 2-hour and 45-minute drive. And Quebec City is another city that does not have an MLB team, which would mean baseball fans who live in Quebec City would most likely make the commute to Montreal to see a game. Another city I chose is Burlington. Burlington is in Vermont. It's much smaller than Montreal, Quebec City, and Ottawa, with a population of 43,000 people. However, most cities in northern Vermont are fairly close to Montreal, which could bring in fans from the United States. Another thing I'd like to discuss is from my personal experience living in Maine. Most of the people that live in Maine are Red Sox fans, so the trip from southern Maine to Boston, it's about a 2-hour drive, and that's if there's no traffic. There are many people in Maine who are sports fans, but we don't have any professional teams in Maine other than minor league teams, so we root for Boston sports. When it comes to the Red Sox, many people don't have a problem making the trip from Maine to Boston to see the Red Sox play in Fenway Park. Bringing your Major League Baseball team will not only attract baseball fans that live in Montreal, but it'll also attract fans who live in other cities that are near Montreal and don't have an MLB team that belongs to their city. I will now talk about competition. It's really no secret that hockey is the number one sport in Canada. The Montreal Canadiens are a historic franchise that play in the NHL. The Canadiens in the 2017-2018 regular season, on average, had an attendance of 21,299. The good news for the new MLB team would be that the NHL and the MLB play 2 different seasons. Yes, there is some overlap, but the NHL season is from October to June, and the MLB season is from April to October. The Montreal Alouettes play in the CFL, which is the Canadian Football League. Basically, what the NFL is to America is what the CFL is to Canada. They play from June to November, which is really when the MLB season is. The difference is, though, that the season is 22 games long, and in the MLB it's 162 games long. Even with the major difference in number of games played, the Alouettes can still be considered a threat to the incoming MLB team to Montreal. McGill University is located in Montreal, Canada. McGill offers 13 varsity sports, their top 2 sports being football and hockey. Even with the strength of their football and hockey team, McGill's athletics pose no real threat to the incoming MLB team. The MLB team would see McGill as more of a benefit for them. They could draw students into the games. They could provide student discounts on tickets, which would attract new fans. I will now talk about business climate. One of the Fortune 500 companies is Bank of Montreal, which has headquarters in Montreal and in Toronto. Another Fortune 500 company in Montreal is Canadian National Railway. There's also National Bank of Canada, who has headquarters in Montreal. And there's also Royal Bank of Canada, whose headquarters are in Montreal. All of these companies are potential suitors to have season tickets, and also club box seats, as well as sponsorships within the stadium. There are a good amount of companies who have season tickets to the Toronto Blue Jays. With a new MLB team coming to Montreal, they should have no problem finding companies who want season tickets to their games. Next is TV rights. Most people in Montreal, they speak French, so there needs to be multiple stations for the game to be televised, one station in English and one in French. CBC is a Canadian English language broadcast television network that broadcasted Expos games for 20 years. ICI Radio, Canada Télé, is a French language broadcast television network that broadcasted Expos games for 30 years. Both television networks are good options to broadcast games. Now is digital rights. The MLB app will cover all areas that the local television broadcast won't. And when talking about radio, radio would be carried on local stations. Now I will talk about facilities. Olympic Stadium is located in Montreal and was home to the Expos. This would be the new home stadium for the team. This location makes sense for the new team. The stadium is not the greatest, but it's a good start. The roof is currently under construction and should be ready for the 2021 season. Yes, the seats are further back. It is a multi-purpose stadium. However, there are plenty of seats available. In the last 5 years, the Toronto Blue Jays have been playing exhibition games at Olympic Stadium. In 2015, Blue Jays had 96,000 fans come out for 2 exhibition games at Olympic Stadium. There was a game on Friday where there were 46,000 people in attendance, and there was also a game on Saturday where there were nearly 50,000 people in attendance to watch the Blue Jays play the Reds. In 2017, the Blue Jays played the Pirates, which had an attendance of 43,000 fans. If you ask me, these are exhibition games, and those type of numbers are pretty remarkable. For transportation, there are many ways fans can get to the stadium. To start, fans can take the subway, which runs right next to the stadium. There are also buses and taxis available that will bring you directly to the stadium. And another option is taking your own vehicle. Parking obviously is never cheap around, professional stadiums, but that is an option. And the last two options are depending how close you live. The first one is you can bike, and the second is you can always walk to the stadium. And last, I will do special considerations. Every year, a family from Montreal comes down to visit Maine for 2 weeks in the summertime. Our families are very close and have known each other for a very long time. And they've been coming down even before us kids were born. The mother in the family from Montreal worked for the Montreal Canadiens and the Expos as a scoreboard operator. Her name is Muffin Hudspeth. She worked for the Expos and Canadiens for over 30 years. She still currently works for the Montreal Canadiens. Her husband, Chris, recently retired as one of the Montreal's Parks and Recreation directors. Chris also worked as a scout for the St. Louis Cardinals. One of the big things that they've said that's been missing from the city is the ability for local towns and organizations to attend baseball games as groups and as families. They said that the spirit of Montreal took a hit when the Expos left the city. Having a major league franchise come to town, an example would be like the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Local economies generate a lot more revenue. As I listed all these before, these are many different reasons that make Montreal the number one destination for a new Major League Baseball team. Thank you very much.